Hey guys! I watched recently a few build videos on YouTube which remembered me that I haven't posted anything for months if not years on my channel yet, and I'm building something. So maybe it's just about time to make my own build video. So let me show you about what it is. So that's basically what I'm building right now. Let's go a bit further. This is an old box I have. I put wheels under it. Got wheels under it. And originally I made this box to transport my Everycook cooking device back then. And it was still lying around. The idea of this box is to make an automatic image capture device for my machine learning startup that I'm building right now. Stay tuned, I will tell you more about this. Basically the idea is to count objects. Now everyone a bit familiar with machine learning knows you need a lot of images, and one thing I crossed on the internet is the idea to have a rotating table, which basically is already here. And you see, one side is white, one side is black, so I will have a high contrast background. In any case, depending if I have bright or dark objects, I want to have this here, able to rotate, and then I'll have this arm here. You see it? No, it's out of the image. Now you see it in the image. So that is an arm that rotates. So from this side you see it much better. So that's an arm that rotates around its axis from totally horizontal to totally vertical. And at the end of the arm is a webcam. So that camera then will capture images. And so far, grab the cam. So far you can see that here I have a main bearing to support that arm, which is originally the steering of one of these micro scooters. I had to sacrifice one. It was a pretty old one, rusty, you see it's rusty. But then I have a very strong bearing fixed to the side of the box, and here you see that originally was the fork, where I have here a quick release knob. I can loosen it so I can take away this arm for traveling because it makes it better. The other part of the scooter is here, so it helps me push around the box if I'm going, because the basic idea is to make this public transport compatible. The disc here also fits into the box, so the idea is to be able to pack all into that box, to travel somewhere, to then make lots of pictures of several objects and upload that to my server, which then learns the objects, and later on I can run an object recognition on that. So basically we have two axes. One is rotating the table and the other one is moving the arm. So that's what I'm gonna do. To rotate the table I have this one. Actually this was an old two-wheeled robot I have built. So I have a stepper motor, I built a small hub, and then I can therefore rotate this wheel around it. And this will go into the cover. This will go into the cover of the box, and I will have the rotating disc on top. Then I need two other idling bearings to support that disc. I have these brackets. What I'm missing is M6 times 10, 12-ish, something like that screws. So I have to go buy them. But what I do have is all the electronics. as I took them out of that old little robots. Let me show you that. What I do have is a custom designed PCB with, as you see, one stepper driver. Second stepper driver comes over here. So that was driving the two wheels. So you can get in with 5 and 24 volts, actually 24 for the motor drives and 5 for the Raspberry Pi. This one is a connection to the Raspberry Pi. What I also had lying around, a Raspberry Pi including display. This is the second small stepper motor I will use to move the arm up and down. Yeah, so basically I have bits and pieces here and there. I have started the box with the main frame and the moving arm, as you see. Next will be to put it all together and show it to you how it moves, how it takes pictures. Short bike ride to the hardware store to get M6 times 10 screws. I love to ride my bicycle. Look at the beautiful sunset. I need to have a big bucket of self-discipline with me, because if I don't, I would buy the whole fucking store. Oh, power tools, more power tools. Drills, tools, bicycle stuff, car stuff, screws. So I have my M6 times 20 screws. Man! Maybe 2 millimeters too long, since the thickness of my cover is probably about 2 and what I have here is about 4 to 5-ish. Maybe just add big washer. So let's try 2 washers. That's tight. Maybe this was luck, pure luck. I thought I'd take some M6 times 10, but having the M6 times 20, this gives me some movement. Little wooden shifting blocks. I hear wood cracking, so that means we're pretty tight. We see how the wheel is above all other things, so that's good. Could do it. The hole here is slightly higher. Looks better. Angle grinder. I mean, they say measure twice, cut once. But what do you do if you don't measure at all? Oh! It's damn close to perfect. Let me show you a close-up look. We have our drive wheel here, our center point here. That should be about here. And this one goes here. Now from here we make this and that, and from here this and that. So that's what I can see from my camera. Of course I see my laptop on top. From here. Now what we have here is a pulley with, I think, a 6mm axle, and I have a 5mm axle on the motor, so there's just enough space to keep the string in between. Now hopefully if I tighten the screws here, I can narrow the gap enough to squeeze the string in and hold it in place. Hey, so yesterday my camera suddenly stopped recording. It was a full SD card. I have some stuff to catch up to show you what happened yesterday. Play now, integrated into the top cover. And behind the display is the Raspberry Pi and the electronics boards and the DC-DC converter. So that is all in the cover now. I have really nice neighbors that they don't complain. But I guess today I'll finish the whole mechanics and I'll clean this mess up. That is the top position sensor. It's an industrial inductive sensor. I had some of these left. And here is the second one. So if I come down here, this one will detect the position. So I have position detection for up and down positions, which of course is useful so I don't run my motor into a wall. And now it's time to wire the whole thing up. So for the wiring we need cool thing about Stribox, that stripping tool from Weidmüller. Here you see it. I'm not sponsored. You can even take 2 wires at once. And if you have ribbon wires, you can do ribbon wires. You can, with thinner wires, I did already 4 at once and it works perfectly. See, like that. Bam. Ready? 12 volts to the system now. Raspberry Pi is booting. Looks like it's alive. Okay, it's gonna be upside down. We need to flip that. But electronics are more or less up and running. Let's hook it up to the rest. The good thing about being a hoarder like I am, collecting all kind of scrap, is that over the years I got a pretty nice reserve of stuff from old projects. For example, I got a beefy 24 volts power supply. I think it does about 8 amps or something. I got power switch, power connector. It's just all here and ready to be used. What I also had was an O-ring that exactly fits onto the bearing. See that little bearing I use as an idler wheel? Actually it's 2 bearings, which is great because in the middle of the 2 bearings I have a little groove where that O-ring nicely sits in. We'll see how properly the wheel is aligned, because if it's not properly aligned the O-ring might get pushed off the wheel. But that gives us a much smoother ride than if we have the bare metal touching on my wooden rotating disc. So, but now first put in power supply and switch and mains connector. Cutting like through butter, maybe frozen butter, but not much harder than that. We detect the up position, go all the way down. Yeah, we detect the down position too. So basically we are ready for programming. It works! Let me show you. We start by rotating the table. On moving up until it comes to the end stop. Down again after the end stop. situation of the table.